Welcome again to our Marketplace Influencer Weekly. We have a special guest today. I've heard her for the first time in our recent IDC, International Discipleship Conference. And I was blessed when I hear their story because it really shows that no one is really an expert during this time as we deal with this scenario. And our guest today, uh, she's a resource speaker on marriage, on parenting, and even for singles. And she's also the wife of the senior pastor of Victory the Fort. Victory the Fort. And without further ado, let's welcome Miss Jen Punzalan.
Hello! Hi Shane and hello to everyone na nanonood ngayon. I am happy to be able to share my experiences in the quarantine. Lahat tayo first-timers dito eh. And you're right, wala tayong alam at lahat tayo natututo sabay-sabay.
Yun nga, especially right now kasi nakita ko na the reason why we have this interview is because I get to see people I know or bosses I know who are struggling either with their employees who are not responding. Kasi isip ko minsan sa meeting sa online, lagi naka-off video, inisip nila mukhang hindi naman to nagko-participate. Pero na-realize din namin, minsan you don't want the other side to see what's going on the background. Talagang medyo distracting. And I realized I understand them. Something's going on also. And I get to see more and more pictures of my friends who are really working. And at the same time, may hawak na baby, ganon. And I get to hear stories of kids who are getting nuts about the situation. Talagang nagwawala talaga sila. How would you describe really the situation towards them?
Actually, kasi our kids were born in a world that was bigger na than the time that we were born. Diba? They had so much more privileges and freedoms and even activities parang ibang-iba. Like, kunwari before nung bata ako, my life was really just home, school, home, school, home and then school and then balik na bahay, diba? Pero the kids these days, pre-pandemic, it was so open. They had so many social activities outside the home. And then now they're confined within the four walls of your house without warning. So you can imagine how much they've lost. And I think for parents, we need to acknowledge that na maraming nawala sa mga anak natin. That's why a lot of them are struggling. A lot of them are having a hard time. And I must admit, even my kids, so right now we have 3 kids with us. Yung panganay namin kinasal na kasi, so he moved out. But my 3 kids, I have a college student at home, I have a grade 12, and I have a grade 7. And lahat sila, you can see, yes, there are good days, and I'm so thankful for those days when they're so happy about life. But also, I must admit, there are bad days when they're struggling to get through school, they're struggling to get out of bed, or even do anything productive, because it is a big shift for them. We have to recognize that.
You mentioned also na you're a homeschooling mom. Siguro yung the idea of homeschooling is probably may mga parang negative view ang mga tao sa homeschooling eh, parang ganon. Pero because of this pandemic, naging homeschooling lahat. So naging homeschooling na rin ng lahat. So hindi na siya, wala nang stigma doon. But at the same time, as a homeschooling mom, how would you differentiate the homeschooling prior to the pandemic and the homeschooling now within the pandemic?
Yes, yeah. I understand that question. For me, I guess advantage, no? Kasi I've homeschooled na all these years. And my kids, sanay na sila to doing school at home. But when I would homeschool pre-pandemic, it didn't mean na ako lang naman yung input sa buhay ng anak ko eh. he had classes outside the home. Right now kasi yung youngest na lang. So yung music arts PE niya, sa labas yon. I would enroll him in classes and we would organize field trips, di ba, outside the home or road trips. Ngayon nawala lahat. That's why yung bunso ko, he's 13 years old, he's really having a hard time kasi very extrovert yun eh. And he would always look forward to the MAPE days, yung music arts PE, kasi alam niya makikita niya yung friends niya, lalabas siya ng bahay, they'll drop by McDonald's together, ganon, and eat. Wala, ngayon nawala na. I think that's the major difference. But in terms of academics, pareho, sanay kami kasi we still do the same books, we still have the same routine and all. Nawala talaga yung social aspect of homeschooling.
Thank you for sharing that. Nakita ko yung similarities eh. Kasi kung yung kids natanggal yung social aspect, even the working class, nawala ang social aspect. Kung sa nag-work nga is, they look forward to is natin yung payday, kakain sila sa labas together, or they will do something fun together. But the thing is, wala nang ganon eh. Wala nang ganon. So if there's something, maybe if the parents get to listen to this who are working, they get to feel that kind of aspect, probably that's the best thing that can easily connect with their kids kasi it's the same thing that's happening. Nawala yung not social connection, but there's a social connection, but because of the physical distancing, hindi na gagawa in certain things. So yun. So as we continue, maybe we'll ask your advice right now. What the parents should do, especially we're still trying to figure out all these things, and what are your advice? Maybe not just advice, probably the things that you've learned during the season that you think is really important for us to know.
Yeah. I have some thoughts. Number one, siguro, is revisit your expectations of your children. And I've had to talk to, especially my eldest, my second child right now who's in college. Kasi last year, nung nag-start yung pandemic, she was an incoming freshman sa college. And normally, di ba, pag college, that's when you take things seriously more seriously, di ba? And you're worried about grades and all. You really want to perform well kasi you're preparing for a career. And she was struggling in the first few months kasi online, di ba, the teachers, not all teachers know how to teach kasi properly online, tapos limited yung resources mo, hindi ka makapagtanong ng question sa teacher. Even group work, you're stuck with people you don't know, and how do you manage group work online, di ba? So parang ang daming And I told her, anak, I know you expected to do excellently for school. You expected high grades and all. So I told her, sweetheart, all I expect as a mom is for you just to learn as much as you can in this school year. I will not be looking at your grades. I won't be checking. Basta pasado ka. Diba? Parang in terms of grades, just do well enough to pass. My concern is just get as much as you can from the lessons. That's it. So don't burden yourself about getting all A's and all. So that's number one. It's revisit your expectations of your children, and not just academically. Even at home, minsan you look around, the house is always messy because everyone's all at home all the time, 24/7. Yung kusina, di ba, napunasan mo, maya-maya, may kalat na naman because someone raided the refrigerator or cooked something, tas ang gulo na naman. So nung before, ang expectation ko sa mga kids, clean as you go, di ba? Clay go. That's what we really taught them. Pero now, because they're rushing between schools, between classes, kukuha ng snack, tatakbo sa class, minsan walang time talaga na maglinis. So ako, minanage ko rin yung expectation ko na, okay, I just have to learn to overlook these things. Di ba? Pag hindi siya the way that I want it to, it's okay. Diba? So, even yung expectation ko of my kids, medyo rinivisit ko. And I told myself, o sige, kung hindi nila kaya masyadong mag-ayos ngayon, that should be fine with me. I should learn to live with a mess because I know they're juggling so many things. So that's number one. Just revisit your expectations. And siguro another tip I can give to parents is to listen. Listen to your kids. Alam ko tayo rin kasi as parents, madami ding iniisip eh. And minsan, binabrush off na lang natin sila, di ba? Magrereklamo yung kids na, I'm so bored na, di ba? When will this end? So minsan, either we snap at them and say, Hoy, ang OA mo naman, di ba? At least buhay ka pa, di ba? At least may kinakain ka. Minsan, ang sarap sagutin ng ganon. Or minsan, we just completely ignore them. But I think we need to listen because what they're going through, the emotions that they're all going through, they're valid. Right? I mean, it's true for them. That's what they're feeling right now. They're bored. And you need to listen to your child. You need to validate whatever they're going through. And maybe they can say, I'm really sad because I miss my friends. And, just validate and say, I understand, anak. I miss my friends too. In fact, Tommy, it's so funny kasi ngayon lang, a few minutes before we started our meeting, I'm out of town kasi right now. Yung bunso ko was texting me. Sabi niya, Mom, I cried during my tutorial. Meron siyang Filipino tutor online. Sabi niya, naiyak ako in front of teacher kasi she gave me this big assignment, parang performance task. Sabi niya, I cried in front of her because I just felt overwhelmed. And then, after the class, nag-shower na lang daw siya, tapos iyak daw siya ng iyak sa shower, diba? So parang, what do you do when your child is going through that? Just listen. So ako, even if sa text, sabi ko, anak, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry you're feeling this way. I'm sorry you're feeling overwhelmed. How can I help? That's the only thing I said. How can I help? And then I warned him, sabi ko, but I won't be able to reply kasi I'm doing an interview. So I'm gonna check my phone later and see. But yeah, just to give you a picture, our kids are going through a lot as well. And if the only thing that you can do right now to help them is to listen and to validate, malaking bagay sa kanila yon. Just knowing na, naiintindihan ako ni mommy. Diba? Hindi siya naiinis whenever naglalabas ako ng sama ng loob. And minsan talaga parang nakakainis na kasi in your mind, ang laki-laki ng problema natin, anak, hindi mo lang alam, 'di ba? And now you're complaining with schoolwork, 'di ba? Parang in your mind maliit na bagay lang 'yan, but you don't wanna convey that message to them. You have to give them a safe space to air out whatever they're feeling. Okay, and then another tip is routine. As much as you can, diba? Establish some kind of routine at home. Kasi it gives our children security when they know things are somewhat predictable. Kasi di ba sa labas ng bahay natin sa mundo, sa gobyerno, very unpredictable na nga eh. Magpaplano ka ng road trip, biglang, we have to cancel. Kasi lockdown ulit, di ba? Or how do we celebrate your birthday? We don't know. It's like you cannot predict anything anymore. So as much as you can within your home, establish some kind of predictability by way of routine, which means, more or less, alam nila kung anong oras sila dapat gigising, di ba? Ano yung mga subjects nila, when is lunchtime and all. Para it gives them security na, okay, medyo may control pa ako kahit papano over my situation. So routine is good, but I want to balance that also with spontaneity. Let's not be too tied up rin naman with the routine that you can't be spontaneous. Merong mga araw na, alam mo yung like today, overwhelmed na yung anak ko. I called my son, yung eldest ko, who's married. Sabi ko, Nate, is it okay mag-sleepover muna dyan si Joaquin tonight? So alam ko, school day pa rin tomorrow, di ba? Pero in my mind, no, he needs this break. Di ba? So always leave room for spontaneity when you know na hindi siya nag-work ngayon eh. Di ba? Forget the routine. forget the to-do list for today. Let's be sensitive to the child, to the needs of our child, especially mental and emotional needs nila. Right now we know ang daming children going through mental health challenges. 'Di ba? So don't be afraid to throw out your plans for that day and just be spontaneous. Ano yan? Connected sa listening eh. Kasi, okay, nakinig ka sa anak mo, what will you do about it? 'Di ba? My son said, nag-breakdown siya sa Filipino tutorial niya. Okay, sige, okay lang anak. You can skip school tomorrow. Matulog ka muna sa kuya mo. So we arranged that for today para lang to give him that break. So spontaneity. Sometimes you can just get all the kids, mag-drive-through kayo. 'Di ba? Sa isang fast food. Alam mo, yun lang, parang refreshing na yun eh. Makapag-drive-through and then drive around, kain kayo sa car, 'di ba? Play music that they love. Just take your time in the car. Sometimes we do that. We drive to Antipolo or Tagaytay. Wala naman kaming pupuntahan talaga doon kasi scary rin to go out, 'di ba? Get out of the car. But sometimes you just drive around just to give us that break from the monotony, because life has been so monotonous for the kids, and that break is healthy for them. On top of my mind, those would be some of the tips that I can give to parents. Just revisit your expectations, listen and validate your children's emotions, and then establish some kind of routine, but leave room for spontaneity.
I just want to sum up with that Yung nakita ko din yung revisit the expectations. Nga nakita ko na that's why it frustrates people kasi nag-iba yung situation pero yung expectation hindi siya bagay sa situation nga, hindi na bagay. That's why it frustrates the people more. Actually, it frustrates the people more na yung not just at home Nisip ko ganun din na sa workplace na parang they have to revisit also kasi yung nangyari na it applies sa workplace kasi inisip ko, some companies or bosses think na, nasa bahay ka naman so mas relax ka sa sitwasyon mo, baka you can do more work. Anong nangyari tuloy, na-affect din yung person na nag-work from home kasi imbes na magpapahinga na ako, they are beyond overtime. Parang hindi sila masaya, parang hindi na revisit na hindi pala ganun nangyari. Mas lalong naaasar yung tao. Same time with kids also na siguro na mukhang madali na ay online naman baka ganun Pero hindi rin pala. It does not work also kasi baka mas madali pala siya matuto, may kasamang ibang mga students. Tapos kung mag-isa na, tatama din ng ganun ka ready din. So revisit the expectations. The second is, I like what you said, it's listen and validate. And I interviewed someone recently, parang ano din yan, I'm dealing with mental health, listen and validate. Kasi mention sa akin na about when you deal with someone with mental health problems, they're not looking for advice. They're just wanting people just to listen and validate them. So yung nakita ko din na we have to exert that effort to listen to and validate. Naalala ko nga sinabi ni James na be quick to listen, slow to speak.
Yes.
Kasi slow to anger. Tapos kasi the anger of man does not achieve the righteousness of God. Naisip ko yun kasi inisip ko, kung hindi ko galit, kung the same mo, huwag ka maging OA, di kung galit, di naging hindrance ka pa. Or sila ang nagalit, lalong hindi na hindi na makapag-usap din. And I like what you said also with setting the routine with spontaneity. Kasi ang sa nakatulong din sa akin during this season is setting a routine. Pero nakita ko din, kapag hindi rin ako flexible, it raises my frustration also. Kaya yung routine ko din subject to changes or subject to cancel din. So it really helped also kasi nakita ko din pwedeng the routine helped me to stay productive kasi nisip ko nga pag itong pandemic, nisip ko nawala yung dating habits eh. Hindi mo magagawa yung dati. Tuloy, it's a struggle. But if you have a routine, it helps you cope with the situation. But at the same time, there must be a need for flexibility kasi kung hindi ka rin flexible, mabilis kang magalit, mabilis kang mainis. So yun. So thank you for sharing that, Ate Jen, for sharing those things. So I want to repeat again yung mga principles. Revisit the expectations. So that's the first one. Second is listen and validate. Maybe not just for mental health issue, but in general na siguro listen and validate kasi work from home eh. Maybe dati may kausap silang office mate or kausap silang kaklase, doon lang nilalabas. Problema, wala silang kausap ganon, nilalabas sa family. So, imbes na we need to listen and validate kasi wala silang kausap eh, ko na lang sa bahay. So, we need to really exert that effort. And last is set some routine, but at the same time, being spontaneous para hindi rin maging cause ng frustration kapag hindi nasunod yung Or thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Ate Jen, for sharing. Even in a short time like this, I learned a lot from it also. I was in a way reminded how to do it about it. Just to share again, si Ate Jen is a homeschooling mom. She's a resource speaker. Just in case you're interested to invite her. So I hope this interview helps. It's simple things. Maybe we're all still in the rope of learning the situation also. Maybe we just have to adjust with the situation like what Ate Jen shared. Di mo alam eh. Pwedeng itong today or this week, pwede natin gawin to. Pero next week, iba na naman yung mangyayari. That's why we just have to adjust with the situation also. And same time, because everyone's at home, I guess there's a need for us to listen and validate even more. Kasi wala yung kung wala man classmates yung kids, we are the people that they need to talk to. Kung wala tayong office mates na kasama, or wala siyang kasamang mga office mates, maybe yun nga Nisko, there's a need to just to listen and validate. So thank you, Ate Jen, for taking your time. And I hope this interview helps. God bless everyone. Hope you join us again for the next interview.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. God bless you all.